I was very jealous in the past.
Era muy celosa.
I was jealous in aspects of in other people where I said no for myself, and I had too many fears. And now I don't know, I feel like it's somehow connected to that if I see something, I also am that. So I wanted to ask you if you could talk about that we already are what we see.
When I say we are what we seek, I'm talking about God. We want to get enlightened, but we're already that. It's a very thin veil, the illusion. But the strength to walk through it is a process. We go through a process to get to a holy instant. And it's only an instant. But because humans are so afraid, they can't just drop their ego. If you can just drop your ego now, you wake up. So people go through this process. First they start emptying, then they start to live more in the present moment, then they start to create consciousness and feel more secure. They start to challenge their fears, and they start to let go of everything that impedes them from having that last step. And many people stand here for a long time, huh? Just here. You know, my teachers are in very high levels of consciousness. Right here. Many of them are right here. So why haven't they jumped? I don't know. I'd happily push them if I knew. But they're there. And in one instant, boom, they'll do it. Because they're there. But to get to this is a process. And this is the beauty of the system. Because you start to feel this incredible security. And you're willing to take risks. And you're willing to challenge your limitations. And when you see this thing of jealousy, it's such a horrible thing. It's such an unattractive thing.
A few weeks ago, when I wanted to give myself more, automatically I had the limiting of myself. I limited myself. And when I was feeling it, I saw a very deep place, feeling I didn't deserve anymore. And my question is that. How to move through that, beyond that, and why do you feel we don't deserve?
You know, this is just a victim habit. I don't deserve. And you just need to keep going deeper into your consciousness. Because your consciousness is unlimited. That's your head. That's not your heart. Your heart owns everything. But the head, the ego, is always trying to pull you down. It's like that jealous person that wants to make you small, tells you you're not good enough, telling you you don't deserve. But you just need to ignore that voice. Connect with what it makes you feel and go deeper into your consciousness. Because everything is you. Everything's for you. Everything's created for you. But you have to find your true essence. Not your small essence. Not your human essence. Your divine essence. And from that space, everything's unlimited. So this voice, facet, 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 feel, facet. It's very simple. It's what I love about this system. It cuts it. Cuts it. And every time you cut, you expand. Until it loses its power.
Can you talk about the sixth facet, about the surrender that embraces my creation. How is that, the surrender?
You know, it's absolute responsibility. And I know that you don't know that you're creating everything in every moment. That's why you have so many no's. I don't want, I'm not open to receive. But when you start to focus on joy and trust, you start to surrender. And when you start to surrender, you start to see that everything you're creating is for your evolution. And we stop negating aspects. Because often we think we're open. But unless something looks a certain way, our head either accepts or negates. It's like that, no? But when you start to say yes to everything, and when I say this, see how your head jumps of all the defenses why you shouldn't. But none of it's true. Nothing can affect you. Everything's an opportunity to grow. And once you start to say yes, and you start to move through, you start to trust. And you start to see that on a very profound level, everything's an opportunity for growth. Especially when you're focused on consciousness. Especially when that is your focus. The more you say yes, the more you open, the more gifts you receive. And it's one of the hardest things for humans to do. Because we have this idea in our heads, to surrender is to lose. But it's the exact opposite. A wise man knows his greatest magic is surrender. Surrender and flow. Surrender and flow. And that's when the magic really starts. Because you're not impeding your own growth. Yes, I surrender. I see. I let go. I move forward. I surrender. I see. I remember when Annie first came, Durga. I've never in my life met a spiritual person of 40 years maybe. She'd been practicing, or 30. She had so many no's against everything. But from a higher plane, no? As spiritual ideas. Every single thing, no. No, that's not right. No, I don't do this. No, I don't eat that. No. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this an Argentinian thing? Yeah, and I know now it is. But it was also an Argentinian thing with a big spiritual ego on top of it. I made her say yes to everything. Everything. If there was a no, it was a yes. I don't eat meat. You do now. I don't dye my hair. Blonde, red, black, brown. Within a week, no. I don't take taxis that aren't authorised. Fine, we'll hitchhike. Everything she said no to, I made her do. So, if you can learn to surrender, you are open to unlimited possibilities. Unlimited possibilities. Because once you start to say yes, the universe starts to say yes. And if you have a clear vision and you're willing to let go of your ego, because the only thing that defends is your ego, you start to fly. You start to fly. Always taking another step into trust with a yes, no matter what this is saying. And before you know it, you'll be one with everything. I surrendered to everything. Everything. Everyone. Whether they were intelligent, stupid, high level of consciousness, low level of consciousness, I surrender, 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 surrender. I didn't want to lose one opportunity to become enlightened. So don't ever not see the value within surrender. And, you know, in life, we're always surrendering. Ultimately, we have no control. If you don't surrender, you're going to war with yourself. If you surrender, everything starts to flow because the love's always coming. But we can't see the love because we have so much fear. We don't trust in anything new because we have so much fear. We often walk away from love because the package isn't what we anticipated. Be that a person, be it an opportunity, be it whatever. Because we have an idea, but our ideas are based in our past experience. And everything new is about expansion and discovery. And this is why surrender is so important. Because what you've had, you've had. You've got to open to new possibilities, unlimited possibilities. But because of a past moment and the fear, you have a no, I don't want a puppy. I had one that died 20 years ago and I suffered. I don't want another one. And see these walls of protection. No, I'm not going to say I love you. You'll hurt me. I'm not going to open. I'm not going to try something new at work. I'm too old. See all these no's that create limitations. Because if something's coming for you, it's for you. It's for you. And it's for you to be more. It's to challenge your limitations. It's to give you what you want. But no, I tried that. This is a new moment. And also this thing of the head. What does the head say? Whenever you're feeling joyful, oh, how long will this last? With consciousness, it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. And open to receive that. Stop putting the brake, the fear of the unknown, and jump, skip, dance, take a risk, run, do something different. Just say yes. So this is what surrender is. A big C to life. You know? And if you see that, be that. Don't be jealous. Just become that. You know, people that are jealous are always trying to pull down greatness. They try to make everyone small because they feel small. And they're not willing to take responsibility to love themselves. You know, now you're taking responsibility to love yourself. And you're not going to be jealous. It would never even occur to me to be someone other than who I am. Because I love myself. And you will love yourself. And you won't be jealous of anything external. Because there's nothing better than that which you are. Everything else is based in fantasy, based in illusion. So just keep pushing. This is the great thing of life. Take challenges. Boom, boom, boom. Do you want to jump out of a plane? Yeah, let's go. Want to go to Russia? Yeah, let's go. You know, challenge life. Just challenge it. And try to accumulate 1 billion experiences whilst being here, anchored in love, creating, enjoying, giving, discovering. What else is there to do in life? What, sit at home and complain and watch the Discovery Channel?
That the energy, we know that the energy in Earth change a lot, and lately more. My question is the process of love consciousness is accelerating with this new energy?
You know, these are all ideas. They say that the energy is changing. The only thing I'm responsible for is my energy. And my consciousness is growing all the time. So my perception is that there is growth everywhere in my world. But it starts with me, because I am that. And yes, there's one conscious mind. And you're elevating that conscious mind. But from your perception, it's you. It's your consciousness. It's your conscious mind. So as you grow, everything grows. As you change, everything changes. Because everything is my perception. My window of perception. So yes, everything is evolving. Everything is changing, but it's through your consciousness. Your consciousness. Yeah?
I've read in a few books that they say that enlightenment doesn't come to those who are trying to be enlightened. That it has to happen naturally. Could you speak to this, please?
You know, the thing is with enlightenment, it's in each moment. It's a profound desire. But it's not an objective for the future. It's a very delicate balancing act. But it's here now, here now, here now. It's not a trophy that you're going to receive. You know, when I wanted to get enlightened, I didn't even consider that it was not going to happen. I knew I would get enlightened. It was a certainty of my heart. So when it becomes a certainty of the heart, you do a process, but you do it from the heart. It's not, oh, I want to get enlightened, and I want to be a guru, and I want everyone to love me, and then I'm going to go out and save the world. It doesn't come from that energy. Firstly, I wanted to get enlightened because I knew there was something more. I didn't even know it was that word. I was completely innocent. But I listened to my heart. And I did what my heart told me. In order to be divine, I had to take off my masks. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be completely human. In order to be divine, I had to surrender. I had to focus on consciousness and turn everything inwards. And the whole system that I've armed is exactly what I did. And you know, you can read 100 perceptions, well, 10 perceptions, because there's not that many enlightened masters throughout history. And every perception will be different. Okay? It will be different. I teach what I did. And I was very focused. And everything I did was for that. But it wasn't from the ego. It was from a place of not suffering. I wanted to wake up because I knew the suffering wasn't real. And I think the big advantage I had was I knew nothing. I'd never read a book. I didn't have a clue. I just had my own internal voice. And later, after I got enlightened, that's when I started to read things. But it's a completely different perception. Because when you're awake, you can see the parable. You can see the need for surrender. Not in the doing, but in the being. But you can't make a mistake. You know, this is another idea. Oh, if I try to get enlightened, I won't get enlightened. They say you shouldn't try. I was trying to get enlightened, and I bloody well got enlightened. And I was trying to get her enlightened, and she got enlightened. And she was trying, and she was trying. But they were trying from a place of love. When it's from a place of ego, because of image, to be the guru, it never works. It has to be innocent. It has to be joyful. It has to be non-suffering. In the beginning, when you're letting go of everything, sure you suffer because you're letting go of all your securities, or you're in the illusion of suffering. But you go beyond that too. You know, again, the key word, surrender and trust. Surrender, trust, flow. Surrender, trust, flow. Focus inside. And don't read too much, because it's so confusing. You know, you read the Buddhists and they'll tell you 1,000 lifetimes more. You know, you've got to stop reading. Just be and focus on what you want. Because you can't read your way to enlightenment. Because that's here. The only thing that can enlighten you is to go in. It's the only thing it all has in common. There's not one enlightened soul on the planet that didn't go in. This is sure.
I want you to talk about attachment to family, especially attachment to mom.
Mommy, mommy, mommy. You know, family, it's external security, no? The problem is, it's a very rare situation where the love was completely unconditional. There's so many conditions about love. If you love me, you study this. If you love me, you succeed at that. If you love me, you're a good boy. if you love me. And all of it comes from this pretense of protection. Okay? So all of our heads are filled with these ideas. And at some point, we believe that we cannot exist without that. Because we're never taught to go in. We're never taught to have our own ideas. We're never taught to have our own experience, choose our own religion. Everything is given to us by the family, unless you have an extremely evolved family. And even then, they're extremely dysfunctional. You know, I had a very evolved family. They gave me open to decide everything myself. But totally dysfunctional. They were dysfunctional. Because that's the human experience. And it's natural that we're attached to that. Because also, that's where all the nurturing comes from. That's where all the support comes from. That's where we run when we feel hurt. That's where we experience safety. Like, it's a very complex illusion. Very complex. When we start to go in, we have to start choosing for our divinity. And as a consequence, the outside starts to shake. It starts to tremble because it feels the energetic break. It's a process. And there's a lot of fear because the control is being lost. They're losing control. They have fear. You don't feel safe. You have fear. Because you're going into something that you don't know. This you know. Might have conditions, but this you love. This you trust. This you know. And to let go of this and go into something you don't know, be it your family, be it your partner, be it your money, be whatever attachment you have, it's frightening. So, is there something wrong with your family? No, it's your family. And you have to love them unconditionally. How do I love them unconditionally? I have to love myself unconditionally. So in order to love myself unconditionally, I have to let go of the attachment. I'm not talking about abandonment, not about making them wrong or bad. I just have to let go. And I have to find it inside. And it's very frightening. Because lots of people are very attached to their family. Very attached. I wasn't, because everyone died. So my detachment left, no? But I had other attachments that I had to let go of. Okay, but it's not about abandonment. It's about finding something deeper. And then you love them unconditionally. But really unconditionally. Because you think maybe, oh, I love my parents unconditionally. But if you still fight with them, if you're not surrendered to them, if you resist them, it's not unconditional. Because there's some place where you want to change them. And you have to see that. And there's some place where they want to change you. Okay, so it's a process. And it's the same thing. I'm out, now I'm going in. I'm finding everything in. Yeah?
Can you talk about the relationship in between physical health and expansion of consciousness?
Well, the physical health doesn't really have much to do with it. You know, you can expand consciousness when you're dying, because this is not real. You know, it's the vibration you're experiencing internally that opens up all the chakras. And this becomes illusion. It's not who you are. What I do find that when you're having a healthy lifestyle and you're expanding consciousness, it's quicker. Why? Because you're vibrating in a different frequency. If your body's full of stress, if it's very dense, full of emotions, toxins, everything else, it's like all the electrical circuits are not aligned. They're not open. So when you're expanding consciousness, this is why we give you vegetarian food. This is why you drink a lot of food, water. And I'm not saying if you eat meat, you can't expand consciousness, because it's not true. Jesus ate meat, Mohammed ate meat. You know, many people eat meat. That has nothing to do with enlightenment or consciousness. But it allows you to vibrate in a higher frequency and to be lighter and to unify more. That's why we have this here. It's only for that. But your actual physical being really cannot impede the expansion of consciousness, because it's just energy. And consciousness just sustains totality. It is the totality.
Not very often, but when I think in death, I feel fear. And I don't want to die. How can I let go of that fear?
You know, one of the greatest freedoms is to let go of the fear of death. Really, to have fear of death is to have fear of life. Because it's the same thing. Life and death are the same thing. It's cyclic. It's like that. It's like that. So how do you get to that point? You have to find your own divinity. You have to find that which is immortal and eternal. And it's within you. And once you find that, the fear will diminish. If you get enlightened, it will disappear completely. Completely. But before that point, it will diminish dramatically, because you have an experience that you know is beyond everything. That's beyond everything. It's very hard, the illusion, because you see it. You're a doctor. You know, you see people dying. I don't know if it's your patients, but but you see it physically a lot. No, you're seeing this, and it's like no one understands, because this is holding you in that duality. What, you think that when you get old and die, that your consciousness just disappears? Is that what you feel? Well, you have to go beyond that. Because once you get beyond that, you don't have any fear. And the interesting thing about this process is we're letting go of the I am. I am this, I am that, I am all of that. And when that disappears, and I become the eye of unity, all of that fear leaves. But it's experiential. And you'll see this. You'll know this. Because everyone is connected with omniscience. Everyone has that internal wisdom. Everyone. And you will find it. And then you'll be free.
You answer when you talk about the family and the mothers, is what I want to ask. But is anyway, yesterday in the meeting, Satya said, as the work of the mothers is to create the duality of the children, was what I understood. Is there any way where that will not happen, as we can hold that enlightenment they are born with, as a mother, as a family?
After the mother you had? It should be easy. No control, completely open. You just copy her and everything will be fine. You know, but you laugh. But what an extraordinary mother you have. What an extraordinary family you have. All focused on consciousness. And the kid's going to be a phenomenon, obviously, because he's raised in love. He's raised in consciousness. And yes, he's going to have a human experience. Why negate him that? Why do you want to keep him enlightened? Think of all the girls that are going to miss out. No. Let him go and have a fiesta. But at the base of the fiesta is this consciousness that's instilled in him through his evolved family. So the important thing is what you're being. What you're being. That's what's important, because that's what he's going to copy. But he's going to have his human experience. You know, I think one of the most important things is not to impose belief systems. Like we always impose our belief systems. And children need to make their own choices. They need to be open. Because they have an innate omniscience. They have a phenomenal wisdom. And if you leave that open, the choices they make are not going to be dogmas or ideas. They're just going to be free for them to come to their own conclusions and to teach them to go inwards and to be real and to express what's going on. These are the things that are important. Teaching them to give, to live in gratitude. This is what's important. Everything else will fall into place. But don't spoon feed them your ideas. That's the worst thing you can do. Just let it unfold. And it will come from the parents perfectly. Perfectly. And they will be perfect. But just remember that they're not you. He's he. And he's completely unique. He doesn't need to be copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-paste. Just allow him to be him. That's all. Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.